Parshas Kisova Chai Elul Tavshin Gimel. Okay, this is one of those Maimorim where actually most of it, the vast majority, is simply a quote from the Alter Rebbe. So it's the Alter Rebbe's signal and style. The Alter Rebbe himself, there's different styles, more barichus, less arichus. This is somewhere in between, and it's classically Kabbalah, not a lot of hasbara, but levels and words and connections to try and understand it. At the end, I see that it translates it in Avodah. So may God be with us as we try and decipher and understand the Maamar. The David Hashem, I didn't have much of a chance to look at it, so forgive me. I just glanced at it and saw what's coming. The David, unto David, so David HaMelech says, Havaya, Oiri, Viyishi, Hashem is my light and my salvation. We know, of course, what the Gemara says, that Oiri is Medrash. Oiri is Rosh Hashanah, and Yishi is Yom Kippur, and then there's allusions to Sukkot, and the whole period that's coming. Lulay Hamanti is Elul backwards at the end of the many Ramazim to this period. It was 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, before COVID, for the entire 6 weeks, Shabbos, I explained, Pasuk after Pasuk, Abichsidis, the David Hashem, Shabbos and Shul. Then came COVID, and then people got used to davening being over, chick-chack, so that was the end of that. And Mrs. Michael Chernak was pushing me for these things, to put in more davening and in the Parsha. But he was a lone voice everybody respected, so they were silent. When his voice physically fell silent, that was the end of that. His yahrzeit coming up very soon. Next week. The David Hashem, so Mavai Bezer, let's dedicate this Maamar to him. Mavai Bezer Chakad Morat Tzemach Tzedek Bereshimois Al Tilim, so the Tzemach Tzedek in his Rishimus on Tilim explains as follows: She'oiri light hein v'al Torah. That's the Eibishter's light is revealed through Torah. Shneimar about Torah. It says, "V'Torah Kiner mitzvah v'Torah." Torah is called light. V'Yishi, my salvation, hein v'al mitzvahs. That's a reference to mitzvahs. What's the connection to Yishi? Shem levushim their garments v'nikroim bigdei yesha. The pasuk there in Yeshaya, that you enclothed me in garments of salvation. So we see the connection between salvation, Yeshua v'Yishi, with begodim, with garments, levushim, which are the mitzvahs. Mitzvahs are the garments in which Hashem's will is invested, in which Torah is expressed. Yeah, we're clear so far. Yeah? So that's a vod from the Tzemach Tzedek. So now we say, I'm going to explain this in light of a Maamar of the Alter Rebbe, which the Rebbe said repeatedly this year, Tavshin Gimel Shashon, Ishnas HaMei v'Chamishim, Ishnas HaKan. We told you the story of it, a very exciting year in Lubavitch, especially for the Bochum. Ishnas HaKan, the year of Kuf Nun 150 of the Stalkus Hilula of the Alter Rebbe. 150 years since the Alter Rebbe's Stalkus, that was an extraordinary year. The Rebbe started the Kanim then, which means branches, the branches of the Menorah. You know what I'm talking about. I don't know if it still exists, I don't know, but there were Kanim, Bachin, that were appointed. 7 Kanim in Nigla, 7 branches of the Menorah, 7 Kanim in Chassidus. They rotated giving the Bachin, giving a shir, an Inyan, to the Zal in Nigla and Chassidus in respective. So my kid, as a kid growing up, I remember that there was a title, this Bachin is a Kan in Chassidus, is a Kan in Nigla. That meant already as a Bachin, he had an aptitude and was a budding Talmud Chacham, as it were. And then there were some Bachim that were Kanim in both. This was like unusual, a big change in Lubavitch that had been made. And there was resistance by the elder Chassidim a little bit, but respectfully, this whole idea of publishing Chedush Torah and making and a Kan, he gets a title and a cover. Yesterday's story, or 2 days ago, Rabbi Yankel Zeravitcher, he is Faher, Dalit Shebedalda, he was in Baki in Shas. He didn't even didn't reveal to the people in Yeshiva, Dan Holler, his Lomdus. That's how, we just finished now Pnimius. So what's the Rebbe done? The answer is not Chitzonius, the answer is Giluyo Etzem. The borders between Pnimius and Chitzonius dissolve, it's one embers, and that's it. Whatever the Hasbara is, This is what it is. So, this is what the Alter Rebbe says. Let's have a look. It tells in the footnote that they hadn't, this as a mime, but the Rebbe Sheni hadn't been published yet. It was published subsequently that year in a kuntris of my mother, the Alter Rebbe, a kuntris of my mother Elul, I guess of the Alter Rebbe, and then published later in the series of books of the years, Tov Kuf Samaches, published much later. So the Rebbe said this at the Fabrengia, this mime was not known. So says the Alter Rebbe, Lahavin Sheresh HaHefresh Bein Torah LeMitzvahs. To understand the difference between Torah and mitzvahs, Yuvan Sheresh HaHefresh, the source of the difference. The difference between is obvious, Torah and mitzvahs. But with the source, in other words, what different levels of alikus do they reveal? Yuvan Api HaPosuk V'Chachma Ma'ayin Timotzeh. So the Pasuk says that Chachma is simply, Pshat is, it's like a rhetorical question, from where will you find it? But Chassidus explains the Pasuk, it's a statement of fact, that Chachma emerges Me'ayin. Sha'Chachma Ba'atzma Ein Nekro Ayin. The level which is Ayin yet to be defined is not Chachma, but it comes from it. Elish Ma'ayin Timotze, it emerges from Chachma. This is hinted to in the Pasuk that the Eden said, then, with the when there was no water, it's the first time, B'Shalach, and at the end, Moishe Rabbeinu named the place reflective of the complaint. Then, what do you call it then? Akoponim. So he says then that the Yidden were saying. Slip my tongue. Hayesh Havai B'Kirbeinu Im Ayin. Is God with us or is He not with us? They were thirsting in the desert. So Chassidus teaches, this is Kabbalah. So see the Zohar L'Kutei Torah. I didn't see it there, but L'Chora. This is also a statement of fact. What is revealed to us is the level of Havaya or the level of Ayin. This is a virtuous statement. To what level are we connecting? So what is he bringing the pasuk? The mashma, there's two separate inyanim. The mashma, shebechinas havaya, the chachma, he's equating havaya with chachma, because havaya, yud is chachma, the first letter of yud kevavke is chachma. Ein bechinas ayin, it's not synonymous with ayin. So that's supporting the statement that he just said, that chachma itself is not called ayin. Novadem, but what? It comes from ayin. We're clear? Hayesh ayin b'kirbein, avay b'kirbein, or im ayin, they're two separate levels. The level of havaya is what we're connecting to, or even higher, the level of ayin. We're clear? Now, what is this level of ayin? Now he says, "V'inyin ki ayin b'chinas atzmi hakeser hamurum levadai." Ayin, which means no thing, nothing. Adarabah, it's not less, it's far more. It's the level, it's the essential level of Keser, which is exalted unto himself, and therefore beyond us. The Nikra, that's why it's called Ayin. The Nikra Belimuhus. It doesn't have any substance in terms of something other than him. The Lache Nikra Ayin, and therefore it's called Ayin. What's Chachma? B'chinas Gilui. Chachma is already a defined revelation, relatively speaking. It's a potential for more relative to what follows. It's a potential state, but it's a Gilui. Elo Shur Gilui Ha'ayin. What's it revealing? It's revealing the first Gilui of the Ayin, the nothingness, the transcendence of Keser. B'zehu, and that's the meaning of the pasuk Me'ayin Timotzeh. It emerges from ayin, ratzaloima, ratzaloima, mitzias ha'ayin, shebola de gilui. So the entity of the ayin, he's touching mitzias. Ma'ayin timotze, he's touching even deeper. Not only does it emerge from ayin, but it reveals the mitzias of ayin. Instead, it's not just giving an address. Chachma comes from keser. He's saying it's at the bittul of chachma. It's a keli to reveal the mitzias, the existence, the entity, the appreciation of the darga of ayin. Of Chachma. That's what he's saying. It's an Elohim Metzias Ha'ayin Shebola de Giloi, we're in Chachma. V'lachem Nikra Koyach ma, that's why Chachma is called Koyach ma. He teaches, interestingly, B'chinas Mahus, ma, usually, ma is the taich what, that it's not a Metzias, because the Nekudas HaChachma doesn't have a definition yet, again, it's a potential state. Or sometimes Chassidus, if you teach ma, it's the faculty that asks the question what, it's always questioning. You have an answer? No, deeper, 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 it's constantly probing. It's the creative seeker of truth, endlessly. But that's the second or third taich. B'chlal it says koyach ma is, it's a power, but ma, it itself, the Nekudas HaChachma defines definition. You ask what is it, when a person has that flash of insight, someone sees the light bulb literally go in his eyes, ask him what, he can't say anything. In fact, he'll lose it, it'll disturb him. He's got to bring it down in bin and then he can articulate it. But at the point, the way it is in Chachma, it defies definition, therefore it's ma. It's there, but what is it yet to be defined in Bina? It's not what he's teaching here. He's teaching ma, the opposite. Ma melosh mahus. Interesting, I never said this before. Mahus, what is he? He said this anywhere here. See Zoya. Okay. Ubchinas mahus, that's already an entity, it's already something, as it were, tangible, and that's the thing of Chachma, that it brings and it makes, reveals to create, simple language. Chachma reveals to creation the mahuz, the mitzius, the emes of Kesed, the truth of Elikus. So that's what Chachma is. And it's already a mitzius itself, it's already identifiable, it's already an entity, there's some degree of otherness, as it were. Does not express per se in itself, it's a keli, but in itself is not the expression of the pure transcendence of Elikus. That's Kesed. Atzmi is Bechinas, Atzmi is HaKesed, Ein is Bechinas, Atzmi is HaKesed, just going back to quote, Hamarumim Levad. That's what Kesed is. So that's why Mashen can continue now, Akaseh B'chinas Ayin Kinal. So we call it no thing, because the Master is concealed. The Yosef B'chinas Helim. Because it's concealed. V'yalkei Nikra Keser. That's why it's called Keser. Shemiloshen Kiseres. I don't understand what he's adding here to the simple taich. Keseres. Keseres in modern Hebrew means a heading, but Keseres means something which surrounds, Ringin Makif. Why is he saying Shem Miloshen Keseres? That's what Keser means. Just what a crown is. Maybe not. Keser means a crown, and Keseres means a surrounding entity. He's touching with Keser. We're used to that. What are you saying?
It's continuing with Makif. It's Helen, it's Makif, it's not...
No, I'm asking the word Keser, he needs to touch it. Why not just Al-Chen Nikra Keser Shingin Makif? Crown is Makif, finished. That's what Keser...
He's saying how you get Keser Moshe Keseres, which is also in that Makif.
But usually when you say Shem Miloshen something, the simple meaning is something else. Now it has a Miloshen of another word that it's conveying. I'm just asking, that's what it means to begin with Keser, a thing that surrounds. Shemiloshen round, he's saying it's round, Shemiloshen round. What's mean Keser if not Keseres?
Keser, Miloshen is around, which is in it's Keser. Coming from the Loshen of it's Keseres, surrounding.
Right, whatever. Okay.
Which is Makif. So I think we're taking for granted that Keser is Makif. He's
no, I'm taking for granted that Keser means Keseres, not Shemiloshen Keseres. That's what it means. It's not a derivative. That's what the type. It's not an association. Usually, when you say Shemiloshen Keseres, the meaning is one thing, but it also has, because it has these words, it also is associated with something else, not something else. Akoponim, whatever. It could be yes, Pashat. Keser is a crown. Now we're saying, what's crown mean? Crown surrounds Keseres. It's not enough to elaborate. If you're saying good. At any rate, you're in Makif. The point being, it does not manifest in a way that is divided. Divided means that a keli and the different kelim receive according to their level. An internalized revelation, internalized into what? In creation, comes according to the particular keli. Footnote 11, maybe it has to say, this is a direct quote from the Alter Rebbe here. So they're making textual possible amendments. Maybe it should be Keli Shaloi. That makes more sense. That the Oipnimi comes B'Yischalkos according to its particular Keli, as he goes to give to illustrate. Or commercial, there's two levels of nefesh in the body. There's the Atzmizdika level of life force in the body that's the same everywhere. You're alive, period. This etzem chayis is not more alive in your finger than in the brain. It's life is life, and that's not quantifiable, and it is or it isn't. It's not more life or less life in terms of life, right? However, in terms of, that's the makiv dikah, or that's mizdikah level. Then there's the nefesh that's just invested in the different kelim of the guf. As it goes on to say, so this is already Pinimi, the lower level. The chayis and nefesh that's invested in the various limbs of the body. So the light becomes contained according to the mezeg, literally the mix, the various components that make it up, with tchunas and property and quality and tchuna, content, literally, of the particular limb. So the faculty of intellect is invested and rests in the brain, tailored to the brain, invested in the brain. That's already a Oir Pnimi. And likewise, the faculty to see in the eye and the faculties to hear in the ear and so on. Now he's contrasting this not to the Etzem HaChayis, but on the contrary. Two, he wants to say, David Hashem made Viyishi to the most external level of Chayis. Mashenken alavush, but a person wears a garment, Hoshave umashve. Where's that Lashon come from? We're going to say it soon, Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Shava mashve kotten kagodol, equal, he equalizes before whom all is equal, and he equalizes everything. Point is, a garment can cover everything equally. You can wear a long coat, one garment that covers your head and your feet. So what did he just say now? So there's two. He just illustrated Keiches Pnimiyim, and then in your Makifi, which is the Levush. So likewise, so what's Chachma? So Chachma is already, relatively speaking, in the Oir contained in a Keli. It has its parameters, and then when it manifests, it naturally projects in a systematic way. Bischalkus, Chachma, Chesed, Netzach. These are all of the Svidus on the right side. As we plot the Svidus, right, left, and center. Right is Giloi, center is fusion, and left is Tzimtzum, is Gvura, is Melamata L'mayla. Not so much Tzimtzum, but Melamata L'mayla. Yeah, so Chachma, it's Chachma Chesed Netzach, right? Chachma Bina Tiferes Netzach. So it comes. Why is it after that way? Because that's the direct Amshacha from Chachma. Ve'alkein ha'Torah nikras mos, and therefore Torah is called food. The pasuk says, "V'sirascha b'seich meyai," says David HaMelech, "Your Torah is in my innards." K'mei ha'mos ha'derech mos like food. Shenichnas b'pchinas oipnimi. It enters into the person in an internalized way, as opposed to the beged. Uba bischalkos, and is divided up. Shenichnas l'itz tumcha dafke. The food enters. It goes down the throat. Where's it going to go? So there's a whole system. That's what Hashem, and ends up in the stomach. This means the stomach, the keva, as opposed, God forbid, to the lungs or any other part. So there's a whole system, dafke, where the food goes, or bashir, and there's a certain measure, the kitzvah. Kitzvah means also an end to it, and much a person can eat and contain in the whole process. Mashenken ha'keser or makif lakoil ha'atzilus b'shavet. Boom. So keser, we're talking atzilus. That's where Chacham first emerges. So what's keser? Keser is analogous to levush, which embraces all of atzilus equally. Continues the Alter Rebbe. Yeah, so far so good, more or less good. Yeah, general idea we get. Let's keep on going. So now we'll understand the source of Torah mitzvahs. Ki hine Mavur b'Mishnas Chassidim, explained in the Kabbalah Sefer Mishnah Chassidim, we've counted several times. The Gimel Partsufim, the three parts of means face literally. It's a reference.
Hello, he calls him Prokim 13.
Prokim. He says here, okay, he tells us here in Hara 13, let me look at it. Kenira kavan the Mesechta Arich Seif Perek Dalet, Vimkein Tzarech is the Dalet Prokim. The four divisions. Perek means a division. Why is it Dalet? Because if you see there, it's a Dalet. Here, what he mentioned here, Netzach, Hoid, and Atik. That you see over there. He's talking about three. But there, in the source, it mentions four. Again, Perek. Perek means a chapter, but it means a Perek is also a bone. It starts to end at a certain, it's in a system, one thing following the other. So at any rate, so he mentions the three of Netzach, Hoid, Va'atik. Now again, we're Kabbalistic friends. This is Mishnah Chassidim. Let's try it. So Netzach, Hoid, and Atik. So we're going from the Mata L'Mayla. Not really. No. Hoid is lower than Netzach.
Netzach, V'hoid de'atik.
Huh?
Netzach, V'hoid de'atik.
V'hoid So now it's even two things. Netzach and Hoid Atik. You have to see inside there with the fourth thing. Thank you. So the Netzach and Hoid of Atik. Netzach, and now we're talking about the lowest level in Keser, a higher level of Keser. Let's just read this. Mislabshim Yud Gimel Chivarta Darich Anpin.
That could be the third thing of the Gimel.
Maybe. Yeah. So this should be four though. Are invested in the 13. Chivarta means white. It means white. It's a reference to the Loiven or Elion Bechlal, the supernal white level. And by white we mean before colored and transcendent, relatively speaking. And that's the level of Arichanpin. Arichanpin is associated with Chivarta. Why Yud Gimel? I don't know. Yud Gimel, I have no idea. Mati Echad, who knows what it's connected to. So what did you say now? That the three levels of Netzach and Hoid of Atik. So these are the two levels within Atik. Sorry. Whoa, rewind. We're talking about Keser. So within Keser, Netzach and Hoid. Where are they invested? In the 13, as it were, pathways, the 13 light revelations of the lower level of Keser, which is Arichanpin. Okay, we got the geography. So there's Atik and there's Arich, the two levels in Keser. He's saying that the three, that Netzach and Hoid of Atik, where they mislabish, where they invested in Arich, but specifically we're told the 13 white lights of Arich, of the low level of Keser.
There's another level coming though.
What's that?
Looks like there's another level coming.
I don't know if he means that. We have to look up the Mishnah Chassidim and see. V'hei mislabshim b'taryag orchin, and then these revelations, the 13 revelations, the white lights, as it were, of Arich, are then invested in the 613 pathways, which are, of course, the 613 mitzvahs, which are expressions of the will of Hashem. What's Arich? Says the Ratzon. So the Ratzon of Hashem manifests 613 mitzvahs. That's Arich, which has in turn received from Netzach and Hoid of Atik. In brackets, Mimokem apnuya shebein sar l'sar. So where is this hamshacha? From the place in between the sides. We're talking about the skull altogether. Arich there's the moichin, that's the brain, and there's the skull that covers it. So that's the inyan of Arich. So the mokem poni, you have to look up there. 14 says tzarech in k'tas. I'm not sure what their question is. I'm sure they have like a legitimate question. We're just trying to understand what he's saying. So in between the sidus, just to explain, this much we know. Sidus means a very limited amshach, like a hair. In between, it implies the giloi itself, the source itself, not the hair that projects from the source. So this is arich itself. It seems that the sidus, this is the tayag orachin, also part of the 613 pathways. That's the sidus, the hairs that project from the skull, from the kodkod, which is the rotzen. And from there, Chachma, Bina, Batzilis receive. Okay, let's revisit this tomorrow. If I have time, I'll look up the Makodes if I can even find them and get greater clarity.